Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to finish off this week of psychedelic music with, man, this, this song title is a bit interesting. The band is called Ohm, and the song is called State of Non-Return, which is just the most, I mean, if that's not a psychedelic title, I don't know what is. That leans right into that. This is definitely a song title implying a state of higher being, and I don't know. Let's just dig into this. Let's see what's going on with the band Om. Got a bit of a darkness in here. We got that bagpipes. Might just be a synth of some sort holding out that note in the back. You hear that guitar tone? Yeah, how does this simultaneously sound lo-fi and high production quality? I don't understand it, but I'm getting both vibes. I think it's just that guitar though. That is a crunchy, gritty, lo-fi guitar. I think just because it's so distorted that it's lost almost all of its native timbre. The interesting thing is there's like this air of looseness to the rhythm. Like that specific tom roll, it was not extremely precise. Very much allowing for a bit of human error in there. Does anybody else hear the overtones of distortion on the distortion in the guitar? Drumming's a lot tighter in these, so I'm going to say it was intentional to be a bit loose on that earlier tom run. like that chord progression. I kind of wish it would show up more. Maybe it is showing up in the guitar, I'm just not able to hear it beneath all those layers of distortion. Interesting switch on the guitar tone as well. Yeah, nice little delayed accent there in the drums. I'm noticing the drummer likes to use triplets a lot in their fills. Very interesting. Yeah, that was quite a different take on psychedelic music. So the song seemingly is split into two parts, right? We have our opening 3-ish minutes maybe with that super gritty guitar tone, and then our final 4 to 5 minutes maybe of sort of the chill, relaxed, like bass tone. Not necessarily a guitar tone. It's kind of bassy. I don't know if the guitar is switched to a bass or if they had an octave pedal to reduce the tone down with the keyboard and the drums. Sort of running in a cyclical idea there for the last bit of the song. And yeah, it's an interesting song. This song did not strike me casually. I'm not going to say I would turn it off if it were playing, but I would not seek this out. But they are doing some pretty cool things that I can appreciate artistically or critically. First of all, the production. I have to talk about this. This is bonkers. Um, that guitar tone. It is distorted beyond belief. There is, I mentioned at one point that I heard a distorted overtone on top of the distorted tone it already has. It is ridiculously wide. It is a huge sound. It is very present. It has a lot of power and width and bite. There's so much grit to it. And I even said at one point something along the lines of, it's so distorted, it's lost almost all of its native timbre. It doesn't sound like a guitar anymore. It just sounds like the distortion. Um, there's there is definitely a fine line once you get into overdrive and distortion at that level. The kind of the sound that you want, that width, you want that power, you want that bite, but it's very, very easy to go over the line into something that is not listenable anymore. And I think they did a pretty good job of towing that very fine line between not having enough power or width to achieve their specific sound and, going too far and making it overbearing. So yeah, that right off the bat deserves to be talked about. The drummer also kills it. Most of the time, the drummer is just laying down some rhythmic stuff, but I love the amount of fills and sort of mini drum solos in here. There is a lot of really cool, nuanced rolls. Where he might roll just on a snare or just on a single tom the extension of the entire fill. But because of where on the drum head he's hitting, or how hard he's hitting, or what style of attack he's using, he creates a lot of nuance in the fill itself, despite not using more than a single instrument in his kit. You can hear this all throughout, and I think it's really interesting or worthy of note to talk about. A lot of the times when we think of the greatest fills, we think of people who use their whole kit, and there's definitely something about that. Using your whole kit and just like having your arms flailing everywhere and just making a lot of sound, to me is sort of like the shredding of guitar. It's visually spectacular, it's auditorily spectacular, and yes, it does take a lot of skill, and it's flashy. It also has the impact of being loud. But you can create just as much nuance and spectacle, or you can make just as much spectacle and interest with nuance as well. Just like a guitar solo can be extremely emotive and epic even without shred, a drum fill or a drum solo can be just as interesting without using everything you have available to you. Just look at snares and drumline. They are extremely fascinating to watch snare players. They have just a snare, and they can make so much music out of just a snare. So I really love that this drummer, while he does utilize some wider fills using more instruments at his disposal, there are a few of them where he just, takes a tom and maybe starts at the outer rim and crescendos into the middle of it, creating these different timbre shifts as well as volume contrast. And it's just, this drummer knows his kit and knows everything he can do with it. And I love that he utilizes so many tools at his disposal rather than just sticking to the more popular styles of fills. The keyboard, I don't know if I have a lot positive to say about the keyboard. It was good. It filled its role in, but it didn't do anything that really grabbed my attention. But as I've said before, not every song needs to have everybody involved at such a level. Plus, the bar is kind of set pretty high with attention grabbing. against all of those fills and that guitar tone at the beginning. The vocals were also mostly forgettable for me, but I think that was intentional. The mix on them was rather low, and it was just this low effort, sort of droning kind of vocals, and it sort of just blends into the rest of the song. And we actually didn't see any more of those vocals because they didn't show up in the second half. And the second half, I think, is what I would define as the psychedelic aspect of this band. I don't know what their official genres are, but when I checked the spreadsheet, the request spreadsheet, it said psychedelic rock. And yeah, the first part just does not come off as psychedelic to me. The second part, I can kind of see more of. It has the repetition. It has some of the more interesting chordal modes that psychedelic tends to rest within, but it just doesn't have the oomph to, at least for me, take my mind and force it to wander, which is kind of one of those aspects that I've come to associate with this whole psychedelic genre, is that it creates music that demands you close your eyes and feel it more so than think about it. And this did not do that for me. Not once did I really think, man, I should be feeling this. And I'm not sure what exactly would need to be for that. But what I felt in the second half of this was boredom. I thought it was interesting. They had some cool ideas. I liked the chords that they're working with, the key that they're working within. I like how the guitar shifted. Like I said, I don't know if they actually shifted to a bass or if they were using some effect pedals, but we got rid of that super gritty wide one, and we actually got a guitar that was a bit further back into the mix. The keyboards took a lot more prominence than the guitar did, and it seemed to have a wider, fatter tone, definitely a lower range. And yeah, there are some really neat ideas that I think worked well in isolation, but did not have the feet to stand on to complete this race of doing 4 to 5 minutes of these 2 or 3 ideas that they had, and sort of cycling them through. It was like a slow burn that never got the additional layers. And I'm sure there's going to be some people who really enjoy this. I'm not saying that this is a bad song or that they went about creating it incorrectly. What I'm saying is it didn't quite work for me. I can see what they're going for, but at least with my first time listen, it never came together for me. I think the song could have been just fine 3 minutes shorter. Have these 2 sections, but don't drone on the second section as long as they did. Or possibly they would need to add some layers to it to keep me interested in it, at least. But as I always say, anytime I provide any sort of feedback or criticism, is that any change, such as adding layers, is going to fundamentally change the song. And it may not be the same thing that it is right here, and it may not meet the same intentions that they had creating this, this song. So while I say that I would probably prefer if they had added some layers and done more of a traditional slow burn with that second section, that's just for me. I'm not saying the song would be improved from that, but the song would definitely be different. I am curious, though, if anybody absolutely loved this song, especially the second half. Let me know in the comments what you enjoyed about it. Every time that I walk away from a song that just does not click with me or goes completely over my head, I always ask this question, because I am here to learn just as much as I'm here to, I don't want to say teach. I think that's a weird word, but I think it's the closest fitting, with me listening and letting you guys know what's going on with the music that maybe you don't have the knowledge to understand the musical theory or even just the musical terminology to understand what's going on in these songs. So I suppose in a way it's like teaching, but I'm definitely here to learn as well. I read every comment, and especially on these songs where I just don't get it, I am definitely looking for information in the comments. not even just for context to the song or an explanation, even just for people's experience with it, just so that I can sort of have a chance to step into your shoes, to see through your eyes and hear through your ears about what makes you enjoy this, just so I can get a new perspective on it, because mine is obviously lacking in something to enjoy this or understand it in the capacity that I typically understand or listen to other music. Let me see if there's anything else in here I want to talk about before we close out, though. I don't, man, I think that's about it, because there's not a lot musically going on. There's a few ideas that all revolve around the same core ideas, the same core keys, and it is sort of rehashing some of this stuff. The huge thing is the production and the drumming. I think those are the two big things for me, and I already touched on them. But maybe, I hadn't thought about this, theme, lyrics. Like I said, the lyrics sort of got pushed to the background for me. I don't think I picked up on any of them. They were pretty low in the mix anyways. I wonder if the lyrics have anything to do with the shift in ideas, from the super heavy in your face stuff to more of the chill, relaxed idea in the second half, as well as trying to tie in that second half's idea of just being. No expectations, not trying to really wow anybody, just kind of existing. And this idea of state of non-return. I don't know. There might be some higher thematic ideas that I missed on a first reaction. And that's fine too. It's the first time I listened to it. I'm not perfect. I can't pick up on everything. Once again, that's what comments are for. I'm looking for, anything that you guys want to tell me, whether you enjoyed it or not, any sort of context. If you do enjoy this, like I said earlier, is there anything that you want to tell me about your listening experience with it that might help me see it through your eyes, hear it through your ears? Above the comment section, there's a link for Linktree in the description. I'll take you to this menu right here. It's pretty nifty. It's got everything related to the channel, like Discord, Twitter, Patreon, special selections. If there's anything you wanted to check out related to the channel, this is how you do it. Above the description box, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Alright, that wraps it up for this one. We have one more video coming out in 7 minutes. It's going to be our creator request for the week, where a band gets in contact with me and says, hey, can you check out our music? After that, it's the weekends. I will not be releasing videos as usual, but I will be back Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC. Alright, until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.